Jai Hind student, welcome to English class. Now students, we will have a look on the types of dependent clause. Now we have already studied about the clause, about the types of sentences. Now we have seen the clauses are of two types. The first is the dependent clause and the next is the independent clause. Okay, so independent clause, it stands on its own. It does not require anything to complete its meaning. But dependent clause, we can study the dependent clause under three types. The first is your adjective clause, then adverb clause, and the last is your noun clause. Okay, so we will understand this one by one. Okay, we will just have a look. Now, for the first is your adjective clause. Adjective clause, they are also known as relative clause. Now, the adjective clause or relative clause is like an adjective. We all know adjectives. What are adjectives? Which modify the noun or pronoun. ओके जो कि नाउन और प्रोनाउन को मॉडिफाई करते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल स्मार्ट गर्ल, सो स्मार्ट विल बी अ एडजेक्टिव एंड गर्ल इज अ नाउन. नाउन को मॉडिफाई कर दिया, गर्ल कैसी है, स्मार्ट है. So adjective clause or relative clause is like an adjective which comes before to change or modify the noun or pronoun. So it comes before noun or pronoun, okay, in order to change, in order to modify their meaning. And the words which are used to indicate adjective clause, for example, who, which, that, where, when, whom, whosoever, why. Okay, these are the few we can say few adjective clauses. Okay, and in this, the for if the adjective clause about person, it begins with the if we are talking about a person, then adjective clause about person, it begins with the relative pronoun, that is who, whom and whose. Okay, and if the adjective clause about animals or thing, then it began with which, that or those. And lastly, like when, where, why, this can be used like a relative pronoun to begin an adjective clause referring to the place, time or reason in a main clause. ठीक है, जो कि इसको refer करते हैं. Then we use when, where and why. Let's see the example. This is a resort that we saw on the TV. Now this is the resort that, so here you can see that is here, and we are modifying or we are telling about this resort. Okay, so resort के बाद हमने जो adjective clause use किया है, that is that. So this is a resort that we saw on the TV. So this is an example of adjective clause. Next, let's see the lady who was our guide is a American. So we are telling about the lady. The lady who was our guide is a American. So you can see these two are placed close to each other. The adjective clause and the noun, or you can say pronoun. Pronouns can be used. So because we use to modify the noun or pronoun. Okay. So this is your adjective clause. Now next is your adverb clause. So adverb clause, we can use adverb clause that does the work of an adverb. Okay, adverb we all know which modify the meaning of a verb. Okay, उनको हम adverb बोलते हैं, which modify the meaning of a verb in a sentence. So the adverbs clause, they will modify the meaning of verb, an adjective or another adverb in the main clause. If these are used, so adverb clause can be used to modify their meaning. Okay, adverbial clause or subordinate clause is a type of dependent clause which start with subordinating conjunctions like because, although, when, if, until, as if. So in this way you can identify the adverb clause. For example, the homeless guys spend the night on the road. The homeless guys spend the night on the road. We wanted to go to the Basundhara Cineplex. Okay, so here you can see the adverb clause are used here. Okay, for example, the homeless guys spend the night on the road. So The homeless guy spent the night on the road. This is a adverb clause. Okay. We wanted to go to the Basundara Cineplex. So just wait. We will go for another example, because here the adverb clause is not used. I am just telling you another example. Just leave these two examples. For example, I say we must reach before the bus arrives. So here we have used before. Before is indicating the adverb clause and adverb of time, you can say. Okay, time indicate कर रहा है कि we must reach before the bus leaves. Next, for example, keep the watch where it will be safe. So here it is telling about the place कि you should keep the watch where it will be safe. So here where is used as a adverb, not as a this adjective, because where is used as adjective also, but adjective only it will be used when it is modifying the noun or pronoun, telling something you about noun and pronoun. But in this sentence, keep the watch where it will be safe, we are telling the place, the location where to keep the watch. So keep the watch where it will be safe, where is a adverb clause here. Now moving to the next one, noun clause. Okay, now noun clause जो है that functions as the noun, simply that does the work of a noun in a sentence. So in a sentence, when the clause function as the complement or subject or object, so here the noun clause can function as the complement or as the subject, as the object of a preposition, as the subjective complement also. Okay, so it starts with the same words that begin adjective clause. So here you will see the words which are used in adjective clause, they are similar to the noun clause also, but how to identify, that is, it will function as a noun, as a object, as a subject, or as the object of the preposition. For example, when the child said was true, sorry, what the child said was true. Now here what the child said, what is used, but it is used as the subject of a verb. You can see the verb is your was true. Okay, so and what the child said, that is the subject of the verb. For example, I wish to know how this works. So here it is used as the object of a verb. I wish to know what? How this works. So how this works is the object here. Okay. When we saw at the Thor movie was amazing. Okay, so here you can see it is again one of the example of a noun clause. Okay, so these are the few examples. One more example we can say, for example, the climber's greatest fear was that he might not reach the peak. Now here it is used as subjective complement. ठीक है, सब्जेक्ट के बारे में कुछ और बता रहा है. द क्लाइंबर ग्रेटेस्ट फियर, क्या था क्लाइंबर्स का ग्रेटेस्ट फियर? दैट इज द सब्जेक्ट. दैट ही माइट नॉट रीच द पीक, दैट इज द सब्जेक्टिव complement. So in this way we can find out the noun clause, adverb clause or adjective clause. So this is all, student. Thank you everyone.